Well, right now we're taking a closer look at an epidemic in metro Atlanta. We're talking about heroin, and it's not just an inner city crisis. It is hitting the suburbs and the rural areas as well.
It is a huge problem. One metro Atlanta man knows that all too well. He spent the last decade and his life savings trying to pull his son out of the grips of a heroin addiction. Sadly, this story has a tragic ending. The night team's Tracy Hutchins live in Atlanta tonight with that father's story. Tracy, you've been following this family's journey.
Absolutely, Sharon and Ben. I can tell you that father really shared his story of sadness and grief with me after losing his son less than 2 weeks ago. He says his son's addiction has turned his life upside down, and he wanted to share that story with other parents.
I knew I had a problem.
This is the second time Tim Dougherty has shared his struggle with his son's heroin addiction.
He told me that he did heroin for over a year before I ever knew.
The last time, this past August, he told us his 23-year-old son, Paul, was in treatment and learning how to cope without the drug.
And I think that he was using right after seeing Dr. Davis, and then he would stop so that he could pass the next test.
Less than 2 weeks ago, Paul was killed in a single-car crash. Tim says his son went back to a life of drugs.
I wish the hell that things had never been invented, because 30 years ago, people lived with pain. Now, 28,000 people are dead from heroin and other opiates.
Tim says he has a message for other parents who think it couldn't happen to them.
My kid won't do that because he doesn't look like that. My son didn't always look like that, and he was doing it. And if you don't believe it, your kid is doing it too.
Heroin didn't just take his son's life, but Paul's girlfriend's life too, earlier this summer. And now Tim, a grandfather, is left to raise the couple's 3-year-old son alone.
I will drug test that little boy when he's 10, all the time. Make it part of his life.
It is a lot for one man to handle, and Tim also tells me that really putting his son through all these treatments has put him in a deep financial hole, close to $1 million, and it'll take him a long time to dig out of. Now, Paul's doctor tells me a key part of his treatment that Paul missed, that led to his relapse, was not taking a key drug that really helped with that opiate addiction, with trying to fight the symptoms of heroin addiction. Live in Atlanta, Tracy Hutchins, CBS 46 News 19.